representing the local here, and there'll be issues here being talked about what's going on provincially. But I'll take the approach of being a little bit localized with what I have to say. Jail assaults are a major concern. That's the news media reporting this. And that's in 2010. That's 4 years ago. Fights are becoming the norm at the detention center, our detention center. That's in 2011. That's 3 years ago. Gang violence at the Ottawa jail are scaring inmates. The inmates population are scared in their own institution. That's in 2011. Guards stop a plot to break inmates out of the Ottawa Carleton Detention Centre. That's in 2012. Woman gives birth in our jail at OCDC. That's in 2012. Jail full of complainers. That's in 2012. Jail guards are warned about using social media. That's in 2012. And that's an interesting time because that's the time where we're starting to do this. We're starting to come out where our employers saying to us there are gag orders where we can't speak about issues. Well, they're wrong. We can speak about issues. And we are speaking about issues. There are things we can't talk about, but there are things we can talk about. And we will talk about them. Overcrowding worries Ontario jail guards. That's in 2012. The latest assault on the Ottawa jail guard was 3 weeks ago, when a prisoner with mental health issues being admitted to OCDC lashed out. Jail guards can suffer anything from having urine thrown at them to being seriously beaten, such as the Milton guard last month, who tried to break up a fight between two inmates and ended up with a broken orbital bone. That's in 2012. Group raises its voice for better jail systems. That's in 2013. We're starting to voice our opinions. When there's triple bunking in an 8 by 8 foot cell with one inmate sleeping on the floor, a jail is going to become a powder keg. Our jail is a powder keg. Then the Ombudsman's report comes out in 2013. We're devastated. Barely have any support from our employer. He says the Ottawa jail is the third most complained about in the Ombudsman's report. That's as recent as 2013. Things are getting out of hand because now killer arsonist hijacker sues the Ottawa jail for $3.5 million. That's right now, happening right now. Things are getting twisted inside our jails. Advocates say horrific conditions in jail means it's time to overhaul our systems. That's in 2014. Things are out of hand. A spokeswoman for the Correctional Services Ministry said that the ministry has restructured or oversight and investigation model at the Ottawa Carleton Detention Centre. That's to ensure greater transparency, accountability, and a robust oversight. The only thing that is a system that investigates its employees. Nothing else. There's nothing robust outside of that. Advocates for prisoners said that horrific conditions in jail, such as Ottawa, are the results of overcrowding caused by a broken jail system that desperately needs changes. The John Howard Society, which at times we don't always see it eye to eye, but on this case we do. They say, I think, we really need to look at a major overhaul in our remand system in Canada and in Ontario, says Catherine Latimer. She's the executive director of the John Howard Society. following the release of Ontario Ombudsman's report on annual report Monday that concluded Ontario's jails were improving but still not fixed. I don't see how they're improving in Ottawa. We need to improve the conditions. There is a duty to provide care for people in remand facilities or being in prison, Latimer said. They should be subjected to conditions that will endanger their health or their mental well-being while they're being detained. Latimer also said that you can start by reducing the number of people being held in the facilities. The province has some of the strictest conditions for releasing people on bail, which creates a backlog of prisoners awaiting trial and can lead to abuses like the one the Ombudsman cited. Our sense is that the area in the justice system where we find the greatest injustices at the moment is probably in the remand system, which is what we have in Ottawa. Both in terms of the numbers that are there and the process in which they are getting bail or not getting bail. And secondly, the horrific conditions in which these peoples who are presumed innocent are being detained. Yet in these horrific conditions, correctional officers work in there. Probation officers work in the community. There's a ripple effect to everything. How can it not affect its working population? And this is where PTSD is creeping up inside our institutions. Staff are getting deeply affected by the conditions they work in. Here in Ottawa, we work on any given day under essential services. The last contract, when I was looking at what we can supply our employer when it came to a list of essential services, I couldn't cut anybody. We are working under essential services any given day here. The working population in our institutions are getting sick because we work in a toxic environment on a day-to-day basis. We invited the politicians to be here. We invited the mayor to acknowledge the community that works here, where we're contributors to society. He respectfully declined. We invited our minister here. We invited our deputy minister here. They respectfully declined. They don't want to hear it. The robust system they're putting in place, as I previously mentioned, is strictly to investigate its population. Alarm bells should be ringing for change. And that's why we're here today. They prepared, instead of investing in their own institution, which we desperately need, they preferred investing in site improvement projects. Projects that is getting them ready for strikes. Projects that are in the back of our institution right now, away from the public. It didn't take a lot of time for them to invest in that. And how they defend this is that they say in the media that they're preparing, it would be irresponsible for them not to prepare for a strike. But I asked them, how responsible is it to flood these institutions with staff that have no experience, they don't know each other, they have no training? How responsible is that? So they're hiding behind the fact that they're being responsible, but they're being very irresponsible. There are going to be situations we're involved in, and sometimes it's not pretty. And sometimes we're involved in things that our job is asking us to do. But they're not giving us the resources that we need to do these jobs. And if we're going to live in a toxic environment, and if we're going to continue working in horrific conditions, you wouldn't give a firefighter a garden hose to go fight a fire or a catastrophe. But that's what they're giving us inside our own institutions. So all of the challenges are ahead of us. We're all here because we have common denominators. We need to better the environment for all of us. We're at a point where we need to make decisions in regards to what and how do we want our environment to look like. Only we will convince our employer to do that. Despite the differences we're going through and the growing pains we're going through, as well as the challenges that the community face on a day-to-day basis, we need to move forward with a common vision. For our French communities here, I'll just finish off with something in French for them. Le système carcéral de l'Ontario manque à ses engagements à tous les niveaux. Le coût pour les citoyens de l'Ontario pour la sécurité du public est renversant. Surpeuplement chronique, grave pénurie de personnel et infrastructures vieillissantes mettent en danger la sécurité des détenus et du personnel correctionnel jour après jour. Il n'existe quasiment aucun programme de réhabilitation des détenus. Des milliers de détenus qui ont purgé leur peine sont libérés sans l'éducation, la formation professionnelle et les compétences de base nécessaires pour s'intégrer dans la société. Sans véritable chance de réussir, les détenus n'ont souvent d'autre choix que de retomber dans la délinquance. Les recommandations suivantes nous permettront d'aborder la crise croissante. Notre plan directeur pour aller de l'avant et préparer un système brisé consiste à travailler sur l'efficacité du système correctionnel. Nous proposons des réformes pertinentes à plusieurs niveaux, lesquelles permettront d'améliorer la sécurité publique et les conditions de vie des détenus, ainsi que d'économiser de l'argent. Thank you for being here.